Hi, boys and girls. This is lesson 8.4, and in this lesson, we're going to be continuing to work with sharing things equally. And we're going to do two different activities. So the first one, I want you to look at this triangle right here on the screen and imagine that it's a piece of cheese. And you need to share it equally with someone else. Equally, of course, we talked about last time, is um, one half is exactly the same size as the other half. This takes up the same amount of space. Okay, so let's think about this really quick. I'm going to actually make a copy of this triangle and put the other one over here. Um, now we don't all of a sudden have two pieces of cheese, which would be very easy to share equally. You'd say that one is for you and one is for your friend. We're not doing that. I'm just showing the two different ways that someone could look at sharing these pieces of cheese equally, okay? So one way that we could do it, and this is going over my screen, there we go, would be to cut it like this. Go. And another way we could do it would be to cut it like this. Okay. Now, let's take a look at these two pieces of cheese here. I feel like I did a pretty good job. There were some indicators that helped me. That this line to the middle is the same as this line to the middle, right? So I cut the cheese in half right in the middle. So would the top half of this be equal to the bottom half? It should be, right? Because I cut it right in the middle. I mean, like I did a pretty good job. I felt like I did a good job of centering it. But how would you feel if that was the piece that you got and your friend got that one? Hmm. It's not equal, is it? This way, it's equal. This side looks the same size as this side. Like you could actually fold it in half and they would be equal. What happens over here is if we folded this in half, no, it would not be equal. It would come down and it would only actually be 1/3 because I could fit three of these triangles in here. Watch this. I'll show you a little trick. Watch this. If I can get this one to connect here. Oops. No, it's not letting me do it. Let me try it one more time, doing it like this. Do you see what happens? If we cut it on this line right here, there's actually 3 times more down below. And that has to do with the angle of the two sides of our triangle. So when you cut something in half and you say it's equal, it really has to be that one side has the same value as the other side. So let's talk about a little bit more about these triangles. These triangles are mathematical models. A mathematical model is something mathematicians, and we're mathematicians because we're experts at math, is something that mathematicians use to represent or show something in the real world they actually don't have in front of them. So they have to do a picture of it or some sort of representation of it, like a tally mark is a good example of a mathematical model. We don't really have cheese here on the screen, do we? So we use a mathematical model to help represent the cheese, and triangles work for that. Um, and the mathematical model really helps you see if you have equal shares or not, right? It really helped us to look at this visually and say that this side is equal to this side, but that this side is not equal. And I'm going to get rid of these because they're confusing. Oops, there we go. And the top is not equal to the bottom if you split it that way. So those mathematical models help us visually represent what we're thinking in our minds. For this next part of our lesson, I'm going to read something to you, and I'm going to read it a couple times. You're going to have to draw it on a piece of paper. So I want you to go ahead and get yourself a piece of paper and something to write with so that you can think about this and then build the mathematical model to represent what we're talking about. Okay? I'll just give you a second to go find something. Those of you who already have it, it's good to see you. I hope you're having a good day and enjoying your math lesson. Okay, so our story today has to do with art class. We all love art class, don't we? In art class, children sit at a table for a project, just like you do in art class at Yorkshire Elementary. 2 girls sit at one table and 4 boys sit at the other table. So in this particular art class, 2 girls are at one table and 4 boys are at the other table. Okay? 2 girls, 4 boys. Each table gets one large square of construction paper. The 2 girls share their piece of paper evenly. The 4, this is important. The 4 boys share their piece of paper evenly. Who gets a larger share of the paper? 1 girl or 1 boy? Think about it again. I'm going to read it one more time, and you're going to try to solve this, and then I'm going to show you how I solve it. But I want you to see if your work matches mine. So you have to be drawing and trying to make a mathematical model to represent this while I'm doing the same thing. Okay? So our story is that we're in art class, and there are 2 tables. There's a table with boys and a table with girls, right? Children sit at tables for a project. 2 girls sit at one table. 4 boys sit at another table. Each table gets one large square of construction paper. The 2 girls share their paper squares evenly, and the 4 boys share their paper squares evenly. Who gets the largest share of the paper? 1 boy or 1 girl? You can rewind and listen to this again to help you. Okay, I'm going to get us set up, and when I come back in 1 second, you will see how to solve. All right, so the first thing I'm going to want to do is draw 2 squares for the 2 different tables, the 2 different pieces of construction paper. So I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm going to put 2 squares in. I want them to be the same size because they are the same size, right? So I have 2 pieces of paper. So each one of these represents a piece of the construction paper, okay? And one is for the boys and one is for the girls. They each get the same size construction paper. So I am going to have something that says boys over here, and then we will have another one that says girls over here. I don't know if you organized it like this, but I like to do this. Okay, so there are how many boys? Oh, 4 boys, right? So I should probably put 4 boys here, right? And girls, how many girls? Right, 2 girls. 4 boys, 2 girls. The boys have to share their paper evenly, and the girls have to share their paper evenly. I'm gonna go back over to my lines. First, I'm gonna work on the girls. We'll just do a regular line. So the girls, I guess they can just cut their paper. What do you think? Oops, I want to change the size. Supposed to be doing a line. Feels like we're in the classroom, doesn't it? Oh my goodness, what's happening? Oh, that's perfect. Okay, I'm going to just cut the paper in half like this. One girl will get this piece, one girl will get that piece. There's their paper, right? 4 boys have to share a piece of paper too. I'm going to do the same thing. I'll do the arrow. That seemed like it worked better for some reason. Don't know why. Oops. Oh, boy, this is tricky for me. Sometimes things are tricky. There we go. Okay, I'm going to cut theirs in half like this. All right, so 2 boys are going to get this half, 2 boys are going to get this half. But I have to make sure that, because the question was, does one boy get a larger piece or one girl, right? So let's do my arrow again. Hopefully it'll work. Oh my goodness, it always just wants to move, doesn't it? That's what I want. There we go, got it. Okay. So now, 4 boys. Boy 1, boy 2, boy 3, boy 4, right? Girl 1, girl 2. Who gets a larger piece of paper? One girl or one boy? One boy only gets this much, but one girl gets all of that, right? So maybe you drew it the same way and maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't understand it exactly, but hopefully looking at this is helping you to understand. If you have a hole and both holes are the same size, the more you have to share it, the smaller it gets, right? He only gets 1 out of 4 pieces. And she gets 1 out of 2 pieces. So she gets so much more than he does. Thanks for listening today.